G'day everybody, Seano here. Hope you are all doing very well out there. Today we're going to be doing our round 10 chat and your team review live stream as we try to do every Thursday. Apologies again for not doing it last Thursday as I wasn't feeling the best, but we're all good now and we're going to get into it. Before we do, don't forget, if you haven't already subbed, please sub now. Thank you for all your support. As you can see just down below me there, we have reached 500 subs. So yes, that's very overwhelming, and thank you so much for everyone out there in the Super Coach community for being so awesome. But if you haven't already subbed, now's the time to do that. So hit that sub button and like the video, please. Go ahead and like the video. And if you're watching this in the future, leave me a comment down below on how you're going this season. Hopefully it's a lot better than how I'm going. Anyway, let's get on with it. Have we got anybody out there? Hey, Alex, how are you? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Good to see you. Oh, the one thing we forgot to mention, we will be popping people's teams up on the screen. If you want to do that, join my Discord. I have pinned the link in the chat. And yeah, pop your team where it says post my team here, and we'll put up on the screen. We'll have a bit of a chat about it. So Alex, I hope you're doing well on this Thursday morning-ish, afternoon-ish, depending on where you are. Could be middle of night-ish if you're somewhere else in the world, but probably for most of you Eastern States people, it's probably just a little bit before lunchtime, you would think. Hopefully I don't put you off your lunch. So a little bit as we usually do while we're waiting for a few people to show up, I'll tell you guys a little bit about what I'm doing this week, and then we'll get into looking at your teams and general discussion about what we think is going to go on this round and everything Supercoach. So my trades, so I got a couple of options here. It's going to depend on team. So one option is going to be Jake's is going to be out, and this will depend on Wade Dirksen being named. Now, I know he kicked 5 goals in the VFL or whatever, but being the new coach, I'd be surprised if he starts throwing the magnets around in his very first game. I mean, maybe he does, but, you know, maybe he wants to just see how the team goes first. But you never know. So if Wade is, if he is named, we're going to bring him in. And then we've still got Farrow in our team, who's going to lose quite a bit of money this week. He's got a break even of 80, so it's unlikely with how the Essendon backline is going that that is going to happen. So we'll get rid of him. And I've had the 3 players I've been looking at. I've been looking at Rankinen. I've been looking at Zorko. And I've also been looking at Finn Callahan, and they've all been in my team at some point. And I like them all, to be straight up honest. The Finn is susceptible to the tag, but he might not have a tag for a little bit. Rank could also get a tag, not only this week. If we look at Rank, if we bring up Rank, I do like Rank almost the best because he's a goal-kicking midfielder. You know, he was playing bulk minutes CBAs the last 2 rounds. But his matchups are, so he's got North this week, maybe Finn O'Sullivan. Then he's got Hawthorn, which is a tough matchup. Then he's got his bye, even though I'm not too bad on the round 12 bye, so that doesn't affect my thinking very much. And then he's got Geelong, which means he could get the Mullen tag. So it could be 3 rough weeks. And even though he's got a low break even, and he's definitely going to go up, I doubt he's going to get less than 42 this week. If he gets a few low scores in the next few weeks, that might limit his scoring to going to the moon. I do think he could be a top 6 forward, especially if he keeps those CBAs, and he's someone that I definitely will want in my team, but maybe it can wait after the buys. And Zorko, the other gentleman that I was considering, doesn't get tagged, well, not normally anyway, but has an 83 break even. He might not get away from us, and I might be able to wrangle it in a way that I could potentially get him or maybe Rank next week, depending on what score they get. If he has another 80 to 110, I might be able to afford him. So Finn, I thought, well, we know what his role is. He's a midfielder. he's going to get the most CBAs there at GWS. And I guess he has potential to go big. There are things about him that I didn't like. I was big on him pre-season, which is a tick. A bit of a cross against him is I was going into his stats a lot. If we look at his stats, do I have them here ready for us to go? Nope. GWS. He handballs a lot. And so for him to get a really big score, that was Clayton Oliver, who also likes to handball a lot. He has to get a lot of contested possessions pretty much. He has to get a lot of possessions. He has to get a lot of contested possessions to go big. So if we're looking down the times he goes big like this, 135, he's got like 37 possessions and 17 contested. So that's a massive amount of possessions and contested possessions just to get a 135. You know, if that was Bont, that'd be like a 200. So, and it was 14 kicks and 23 handballs. So he's not one that's going to have huge ceiling scores too often. I think he's hopefully without the tag is going to be a 100 to like a 120 type of guy. But I can live with that in my team at the 500 price tag. So, and I don't think there's anyone else around that price that's going to give me the same value. And he's got the Eagles this week. If he's ever going to have a big game, it's probably going to be this week. I don't know if they try and send the Hoff to him, not Hasselhoff, but Brady Hoff. Send that man to him again, like they did a little bit with Pickett, but maybe they do. So that could be one trade. So, but then say Dirksen isn't named. I know we all want him to be. I got a feeling he's not going to be named. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you're the brand new coach of the team, I know we're all happy that Voss has been fired, and we're hoping if you kept Smith, it could be a good deal. But yeah, is he going to start throwing the magnets around in the first week, or is he going to take a week and look at the team and then decide what he wants to do? Even if he does that, hopefully Dirksen has a good game in the VFL and comes in next week, and hopefully he can play defense. Doing it this way does leave me with no coverage if Dirksen doesn't play. Or doing it this way, hopefully if he does play, I do have coverage. So the other option is, instead of Jakes and instead of Dirksen, we go Devon Robertson, who's I've still got on my team as a non-playing player, and we put in Kalani White, non-playing player. Which swapping out one non-playing player for another non-playing player doesn't seem that bad, except for the fact I've got no cash gen in the system in my system, so I can't really do that. Oh, it says I can't afford to do that. So if I do it this way, I need to get a Zorko or a rank, and I'll probably get a rank. And this is going to be a little bit. I was having a chat on Shorty's stream last night. And, you know, if you're not already following Shorty Supercoach, go and do that. He's a very funny and cool man. And he said he prefers Zorko over rank. And he's having a terrible season just like me. So we'll do the opposite to him and just go what he said and just do the rank. Love you, Shorty. But, yeah, I'm not really doing it that way. I just think rank could be that goal-kicking midfielder. And if he doesn't get the tags or whatever, we've seen people like Petrarca and Pickett, these goal-kicking midfielders, are getting big scores when they go big, but that's just not very much. And then we've got one more option, crew. The one more option is if we do, we get out, who else were we going to go as well? We're going to do a 3. We get the, use our last boost and we get the Edwards guy. Now, the Sydney Edwards guy, this guy, and then we get in Finn. Which we would sub him up there, and then we would get in Finn. So we'll just leave it like that, but I'm not too sure if I'm going to do that. So that way we use the boost, and that gives us 95k for next week, where that's the way where I potentially could get Zorko, depending on how much Selwood goes up, or even go from someone like Brune to another Primo with one trade. So how's, I'm not sorry, I'll be missing out on chat a little bit. So that's my kind of plans crew. And then captain, vice captain, Bond into captain Jack. So that's what I'm planning to do. Let me know what you think. Yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, and still a bit up and yeah. But yeah, if Dirksen doesn't appear, we'll end up with a probably out of the two, out of Zorko and Rank, I'll probably go Rank. And the other reason I think I'll pick Rank is because I think Rank is or could be a top 6 forward, where I don't know if Zorko is a top 6 defender. I've got 2 spots there at the moment, which probably 3 players I'm interested in are Holmes, Roberts, and Whitfield. All I don't have. So do I really want to put a Zorko there at the moment? It's only because he's cheap, but he can give these decent scores. Right, let's see what's going on over here in chat. Hey, Karen, how are you? What a terrible season so far. I'm with you, Karen. Yeah, it's been a disaster. You're not doing any trades this week. That's good. 20 and 1 boost. VC, Heaney, and DeBont. Thank you. I am feeling better. Thank you very much. Much better. Much better. I'm going to plan not to do, maybe just do 1 trade next week. Maybe Brune up to someone if I've got money in the bank. Or definitely, because definitely round 12 is a round where you don't want to do any trades. Unless there's a rookie on the bubble. Round 12, first round of the buyers, that's pretty much a really great round not to do any trades. And I think this round, as I recommended in my trades and captains video, if you go back and have a look, yeah, that I recommended, if you don't need to, you don't have to trade this week either. And I'll be looking to either do no or 1 trade next week, saving those trades up for the buys. And I kind of, if I did it this way, I would have 17, and we can go and do the math later if we like to see kind of how many trades I want left coming out of the buys. So I hope you're doing well, Karen. Hey, Shano, nice to see you, mate. Cheese, Seano the Messiah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know about that. If I could, if I could create miracles, mate, I'd make myself in the top 100 of the Supercoach. Yeah, nothing important like world peace or anything, you know. If Seano's the Messiah, he's just like, he didn't even say the top to win Supercoach. Top 10, nah, just top 100. I have low standards. Hey, Michael, how you going, mate? How you going? Shano, thoughts on Carroll to Dirksen, Nass to Roberts, and McAndrew to Zorko? Would mean just having 1 boost left. I think having 1 boost left is pretty good. It's probably more than most. If I could keep my boost into the buys. Now, a lot of people, a lot of content creators will say use all your boosts. But I remember last year, I used a boost the week before the buys, and I kind of got screwed because I brought in a player, Tom Gross, I believe it was, who played as a sub and then got dropped, even though he was named as a follower on the field for the Eagles. And I thought, oh, they're going to give him a chance. And I used my last boost for a guy that never played again, and it made me very angry. And then when the buys came along, I was like, I really could have done with that boost. And even though people will tell you, hey, you get 3 trades in the buys, having 4 trades in a round is super helpful. It means you can go 3 down and 1 up if you have to, which, you know, the way the rookies are looking could be very helpful. So I'm kind of really hoping that Dirksen gets named this today. And Edwards, I'm still not sold on this 3. We might even just go down to Kalani White and then to like rank, I think. So sorry, I didn't highlight your message, Shano. I think it's fine. Nass, the whole Nass things was a bit of a disaster as well, wasn't it, buddy? Like, these clubs, and they're basically flat out lying about the injuries. You know, surely they know, you know, reasonably well early. I mean, Geelong are the worst, but now St Kilda are doing it, dropping him at the last moment, saying he was managed for starters, and then dropping him at the last moment, and then saying he's got a 3 to 4 week injury minimum. So yeah, that's pretty rough. But you're getting in some good players, mate. You're getting in Roberts. You're getting in Zorko, who, even though I said before I don't know if he's a top 6 defender, he's shown in the past he can be, and he can score big. I'm not too sure if that's altered a little bit now because there's a lot of guys back there in that back line now. but he's still the number one man when it comes to kick-ins. But they do have Kitty. They've got, Wilmot. They've got one other. What's the other? Fletcher. They got a lot of guys back there in the back line. But Zorko's so old, I think they just leave him in the square and let him kick the ball. Let them kick the ball out. So I still think he's good for 100 most weeks. All right, Michael says, did I hear somewhere that Big Mac is possibly in doubt this week? McAndrew is did not train or something and is possibly in doubt. That hopefully does not happen if anyone out there is relying on him. And if he does, it might be the best time just to jump off him and use the money he's made. Thinking Big Mac, and I think they also play North this week, don't they, as well? So your North versus Adelaide, that's going to be a rough game for him. So it could be the time to get rid of McAndrew, and he's got to buy in a couple of rounds. So it could be the time for McAndrew to go. So Michael says Big Mac and Reeves to Smith and Grundy. Grundy's got a good run, and I believe his opponent is out this week as well. So he should have a very good game. Or no trades at all. Yep, Michael, I saw you put your team in. We will definitely do that, buddy. Thank you for everyone putting your team in. It's not too late. Join the Discord. Throw your team in where it says post my team here, and we'll do that very soon. It's not going to be the super long stream today, so we'll get into that pretty much as soon as we catch up on chat. Even if Dirksen isn't named, you may just pick him anyway because he's 99k and surely gets a game eventually. Maybe, Seano. Maybe. I've said those things before. That's like I was saying. That's what I said about Gross last year, and he was actually in the team. Oh, I'm sure he'll be around. If you don't have any other loopholes, I understand it. If he's not named and you've got someone else as a loophole, I'd probably just hold off, mate, until he actually gets picked. Once he gets picked, then worry about it. Like, I'm going Will Edwards in this situation because, as you can see, I've still got Marshall there and we don't know if he's going to be named. If one of my guys was to drop out, then I would have a 0 and I would be relying on my flex to come in and play, which would probably, it's not going to be Callahan in this situation. It would probably be the Philippou. The Poo would be the man, or like Rechko or something like that. Would be the flex, so it could be a bit of a problem, but I don't think I'd be picking Dirksen until he's actually named. We really don't know what the new coach is going to do. And even if we do pick him, he's 99k. If he plays as a forward, he's not going to deliver those backline scores like we wanted. So he'll be a slow burn. So I don't want to pick him unless I know he's named. Now, this Will Edwards guy, I don't have to admit I don't know a lot, but I did read an article. And I don't know if I can bring up the article. Let's see if I can find it. But have you seen the size of this guy? He's like a giant. He's like an absolute giant. See if I can find it. Latest news. He's standing next to another player. He looks like can't show more. Oh, I can't say it. There's a picture of him next to one of the other players. He just dwarfs him. My issue with this would be, obviously he has to be named, and I want him to be named with McCartan in the team, who might come back this week, because that's the player he seems to have his spot. So if they're both in the team, then I'll consider it. I'm not expecting big scores out of him either, though. But at least he is a backman, so if he did happen to take a intercept mark or something by a miracle, he would potentially get maybe a peak score, a spike score. So I don't want to bring in a non-playing player for me because I already have so many non-playing players. If you have no non-playing rookies, then maybe a Dirksen's okay. But at the moment, I have Marshall, I had Jakes, I've got Sharp, Duff Tyler's not making me any score. Like I had Edwards and I had Robertson, which means no cash generation for this little Seano, which is a bit upsetting, which means I'm praying that in the next couple of weeks, some rookies pop their head up, or we get some in the mid-season draft, some 99Ks. And I'd like to remind everybody, All this talk about getting a full primo team and everything, most of us didn't get a full primo team last year. Or a lot of us didn't. I didn't. I had in my flex at the end of the year Tom McCarthy, which was a 99K, mid-season draft guy. Now, we'll be very lucky to get a Tom McCarthy this year. I don't think it's going to happen. Like, that was like a miracle. 2 years in a row, I think we had Marek the year before, and last year we had McCarthy. So we were very lucky there. This year, we may not get those 99K guys. So you might not be able to have a primo in your flex with how many trades that we've burnt through and how many injuries we've had. It's one of those situations where last year's the rookies didn't make enough money. This year we've had too many injuries, which are also going to hamper us to getting teams to full primo. The top teams who have made enough money, but I think teams, if you're a bit like me and you're a bit struggling, getting your team to full primo could be a little bit of an issue this year. Hey, Lancey, I think he should get a game of, this is it. We all think he should get a game, but we don't live in the mind of the coach, do we? So I'm not bringing him in until I know. I prefer to go, for me, Kalani White makes more sense just because of the way my team's set up. And also for me, as you can see, me having Kalani White, I'm not doing it because I need a non-playing player. I'm doing it because it gets me that money and I can provide myself coverage. If for some reason, if Philippou or someone's are laid out, or Gorn or Jackson's are laid out, Duff Tyler can be on the field. He's not going to score me much, but at least I can have that player there just in case. He did score 100 once this season, and then I think he struggled to score 50 every other game. Is that right? He's got 100 and no scores over 50 for the rest of the season. Yep. Oh, he got a 55. He's got 100, and then he's got a 55 as his next highest score. So, and he's not making me any money, but he is covering, and if I got Kalani White, I can go up and down, and that allows me to make one trade this week. But if that wasn't the case, I think I just probably wouldn't trade this week, and I would wait to see who's on the horizon, or even go Will Edwards if he's named with McCartan over. I would prefer you guys do this if Will Edwards is named and McCartan is also Tom McCartan is also named in the team as well. Get him, get Dirksen next week if he's named, or the week after. Then you've got this one rookie here. This is the only thing tempting me to do a boost this week. At least this gets me a rookie that, he could potentially make 100 grand. Potentially. Hopefully. So he's gone a 45, a 54, and a 61. So say we give him 55s. Up until his buy. When is his buy? His buy is not until round 15. He would make 247, so he would just be under 100 grand. He would make, and if he could just do one spike score of like a 65, he would make you 200 grand, pretty much. So at least, 100 grand. So at least he would make you some money. There's always a chance he comes out and gets you a 30, which would be a disappointment. But I think I'd prefer to do that. At least you'll got some money coming in. And then if Dirksen comes along and you drop him or whatever for this guy, I guess it depends on your trades as well. But I wouldn't be doing it if you've got no other coverage here in the back line. I wouldn't be bringing in another non-playing player. If you're like me and Marshall doesn't play this week and you've got someone who's not playing here, if you've got another player that's playing and you want to bring in Dirksen, I guess that's more reasonable. But, bit of money, the cupboard is so bare. I'd almost prefer that you didn't trade this week. Just wait for him to come in, save those trades, and trade in the future, especially if you're not going for like top 1,000 or top 100 or whatever. What does it matter? What does it really matter? If you're anywhere from top 15,000 up, do you really think those extra, 50 points or 40 points or 30 points you're going to get on field are going to really help you achieve anything that you actually want to achieve? So for me, I just want to win my leagues, and that means it's kind of important to have trades in the back half of the season. So that's why I don't really want to do this boost this week, and I may not. We may just forego Finn Callahan and get Rank instead. And I think out of Rank and Zorko, I think I'm getting the smart thing to do would be to get Zorko, to be honest, because then I would have coverage in the back line. But no one ever accused me of being smart. And so I think I'll get Rank because I think he's more like a top 6 forward. And then as we can see, I've done what you're not supposed to do in Supercoach, is you usually fill out your forward line last. I've filled out my forward line first. Number one, that's a mistake. That was a mistake as it is. As you can see, I probably could have got Pickett at under 500k. I could have got Horny Man at 450k. Could have got Rank at 430k. Instead, I paid, 580 or whatever for Petrarca, 500 for Horn Francis, 500 and I think it was 505 or something for Pickett. And they can drop you a 65. They can also get you the 120s, 130s. But, we saw all of these forwards, even the ones like, McKinnery's down there about 450 at the moment. Zach Bailey's been at 450. All these really good forwards have been at 450. There was no reason for me to pay up for them. But at least it's kind of complete. And if I get at least at Rank at 460, I think is still reasonably good value at that role. I'm just worried about the next couple of weeks. Anyway, that's Seano's thinking, we do have some more. Sorry, I was missing the chat. We do have some more. Matthew, Henry, a must-have with your no NAS for 3 weeks. If you don't get him now, you'll regret it. Henry, a must-have. Who's Henry? Rebound roll against the Tigers probably scores 105. Henry. Matthew, I'm not too sure who you're talking about there when you say Henry. Maybe you need to verify that a little bit. Sam, nice to see you, Sam. Whitfield, I'd love to get Whitfield. Can't afford him. Whitfield, Roberts, and who was the other one that I said? Three top defenders. I don't have any of them. Zorks was scoring pretty well with those guys even before. Well, in fantasy, at least he can't remember his Supercoach scoring because he's so old. I think Zorks will be a good scorer. I think Zorks will score very close to 100 each week, and we know he's got the capacity. If 1 week there's 1 million points kicked against Brisbane and he takes 10 kickouts, he might get a 120 or 130. Demo, have a look at your team and give me your opinion. It's called Hitman. Matthew, did you stick it in Discord? You got 3 boosts, Lanzy. Nice. You've been quite conservative with them. I think usually the play, it's going to depend what rank you are. The people that get really high ranks normally burn through their boosts pretty early, and a lot of them will use them all before the buys. I think it's worth having at least one for the buys, but you can definitely afford to lose them, to use them, Lanzy, if you need it. I don't know if you'll be able to find it, but like for me, if I had multiple boosts, I'd definitely do this boost this week. The fact I've only got one makes me not really want to do it. Cheese, hoping Ollie Hannaford is a loop for you again. It's far more useful as a loop over his lousy 20 scores. Marshall is on the plane to Darwin. Apparently so he plays. Matthew, I heard the same thing, but also heard that Alia is on the plane as well, and he might take his spot. So he might be an emergency. So I'm with you. I hope he plays, but there's no guarantee he will play. And hopefully if he plays in defence. And if Alia plays, he's a defender, so he might actually play up forward again, which would be a disaster. But yes, last week they just said they didn't have a matchup for him. So I'm with you. I heard he's also on the plane. That makes me really hope that he is playing and gives me a little bit of coverage. And then if that's the case, I'm probably not getting Will Edwards. If Marshall plays, I'm probably not getting Will Edwards, I would say. Yeah, sorry, not Alia, Ragged Alia, Ragged, the Ragged Alia. Yeah, sorry, I got that confused, Seano. But Seano, you're correct. That's what I heard too. So Marshall could always be an emergency. So just keep an eye. Everything's got to depend on team sheets today before I actually lock in my trades. Michael, Bont into Jackson, Grundy into Bont, or Grundy into Jackson. I'd be doing Grundy into Bont or Grundy into Jackson, just because Grundy doesn't have an opponent this week. They play Collingwood, and as far as we know at the moment, there'll be no Cameron. So Oscar Steen, he'll be up against Steen, and you assume that he'll probably monster him. So I'd probably want Grundy in my calculations. And if he fails, well, then I would take a swing at probably either Bont or Jackson, whoever you feel. I also feel like Jackson will. I don't think there's anyone. I don't think anyone at Essendon, whether it's Brian, whether it's Peter Wright, doesn't matter. I don't think they're gonna worry Jackson too much. Melican could be dropped ahead of Edwards. Yeah. Just at his price, Edwards, he's going to be lucky to make you 100K as a key defender. If I was going to get him, I kind of wish I got him last week. It would have made it a little bit more worthwhile. At 158K, it's just not I'm going to need a lot of money. I'm going to need rookies that are making 150 to 200K for me to get close to completing my team. So I don't really want to be getting rookies that are only going to make me 100K. So even if he is a lock, I don't really want him. I'd prefer if Dirksen was a lock. Yeah, I think Jack depends on how much money, but I think it is. I've done it many times. I'm not going to trade out Bruin. He could lose out money this week. Lindsay could potentially lose money this week. I think if you've got, especially if they're a good rookie, like I'm getting rid of Farrow because I think he's lost his role, and he could lose a lot of money. Farrow could lose 20 or 10 to 20K this week. So if it's a lot of money, like I'm saying, if it's over 10K, if it's over 15, 20K, then yeah, I'd probably try and find a way to get rid of him. Even if that means you can't do the upgrade that you want this week and you're banking the cash for next week. Like I said, unless you're pushing for the top 100 or the top 10 or whatever, what difference does it really make? If you're at, 20,000 overall rank, what does a few hundred ranks or 1,000 ranks either way really make a difference? This is, I think, a smarter way of thinking. Again, no one's ever accused me of being smart, but there's a long season still to go, and you'll pay off in the back end of the season. It's going to pay off for you to have a few trades there when other people don't. You'll gain back those overall ranks, I think, in the back half of the season, especially if there's some injuries and stuff. If you can avoid having a 0 on field or something, why in the last 4 to 5 rounds while other people are having to field zeros, that's going to make, a difference to your overall rank at that time. And you just pace yourself. And if you're interested in leagues like me, you got a lot more chance of winning your leagues. I won't even say, I'll say you got no chance of winning your league unless you have trades. If you don't have at least one trade a week, so 4 trades when it comes up to your league finals, you might as well forget about it. You're going to have to be the luckiest human on earth to win your leagues, because your opponents will have trades. And if you've got a luxury trade, you can even trade for matchups. If you had Grundy and, say you had Grundy and the Sherry has a great matchup and they cost the same, and Grundy has a hard matchup, and you could just swap them for your league grand final and, win your grand final. But anyway, thing is to fill out the forward line first if you're getting the worst of your rookies off the field. Cheese. Yeah, that's what's kind of was my thinking early on in the season. And I'll play devil's advocate. We got the angel and the devil. The devil says to Seano, but you can get your forwards cheaper and they don't score as consistently or as well as people in the back line, your back line primos and your mid primos. So, much better to have a Lockie Whitfield than a Cossie Pickett type of scenario. So where we won't count Sheasel and Petrarca because they're basically, full-time mids. But these ones like a Horn Francis, would I prefer a Horn Francis or like a Zorko at the moment? I'm saying I want Zorko, or even Sinclair. I want Sinclair over Horn Francis, and I mean maybe even a Houston or a Dacos or whatever at the moment. So in theory, it's always better to fill out your forward line last because the scores vary less. But if I didn't have to play Philippou on the field, I would kind of like that. Geez, so it was in my mind, I was kind of thinking that as well. But I think overall, the extra 30 points or 40 points I make from having a Whitfield instead of having a Horn Francis is probably more, you're going to make up for it anyway, if you know what I mean. So I won't be doing it next year this way. Next year, you pick your couple of good forwards. Obviously, we won't have Sheasel or Petrarca, you would think, available. Pick the best one or two forwards, and then 450 is the most, 450 to 500 is the most I'm paying for any primo forward next year. I'm putting my foot down. That's what's happening. Will Edwards played with McCartan already? Okay, that's good. Well, McCartan is listed as a test this week, so I guess we will find out. So, and we'll see if the Melican gets dropped or not. But yeah, I don't like Will Edwards. I'm only picking him because there's nobody else. There is no, and Liam Henry. I don't like Liam Henry either because he could stay in the team, but he's got Jack Higgins, he's got Liam Ryan coming back in a few weeks, and he's at that higher price point as well. And when I looked at Liam Henry, people are like, he's gone 70. I don't think he has gone 70, to be honest. I looked him up, and the best he's ever gone in a Supercoach season, yeah, okay, he has gone 70. 1 year where he went 70, 2023. But then he's got a 62, a 40, a 42, a 33. So if you're expecting him to go 60 to 70 this year, I don't know. That's like a best case scenario. A 40 is probably right in there as well. A 40 or a 50. And that's not going to make you 100K either. So I don't like any of the rookies this week. They're all disgusting. And I don't like Will Dirksen either, except for the fact he's 99K, and that's the only reason I'll be getting him. And that's the only reason I'm considering the Kalani White move is just because there is nobody. And that's with I've probably all of you guys and girls out there in Supercoach land and in chat probably have better cash gen on your bench than me, and I'm still considering swapping a non-playing player for another non-playing player. So I can't get too critical of any of you crew out there who are thinking about getting Dirksen, but I don't think I would do it. I think I have a unique situation where I've got this swingy business going on in the forward line, which makes it semi-okay. Kalani White, I think I would be getting him at some point of the season anyway. It's very unlikely that we'll get a decent ruck that comes through and she's like a mid-season ruck that's 99K, plays full-time ruck. I mean, it could happen, but it's probably unlikely. I think in hindsight, just picking Kalani White at the beginning of the season would have been the way to go. Anyway, let's have a look at your team's crew. Once again, thank you very much for the 500 subs. If you haven't already liked this video, please like the video now before we go ahead and start looking at people's teams. Jonas sent me the Homer splashing himself with the beer, which I appreciate for the 500 subs. Yes, but if you haven't already liked today, please like the video. We have 25 people watching, so I kind of expect to see 25 likes, and we've got 4. Very disappointed. I'm like one of those guilt-tripping parents. Very disappointed in you, chat. Only 4 likes out of 25. So yeah, don't make Sean angry. Don't make Sean angry. All right. Here we have Lancey. You still with us, buddy? We have your team. You are ranked 40,000, 20,800. And you've still got 3 boosts, you're telling me. Still got 3 boosts and a bit of money. Teams are shambles. Well, use your boosts, mate. You got 3 of them. Use them. That's my advice. Whitfield, Sinclair, Clark, Houston, Lindsay, Marshall. Well, your back line looks better than mine. This is after your trades, I guess. Jakes and Dirksen. Fair enough. See, I don't love this. You've got no coverage here if somebody's out or whatever. Just saying, if you had to use a boost to get in the other dude and he's playing the Sydney guy, I would prefer that, and then pick up Dirksen when he gets named, if he's not named this week, if he is named in a week or a couple of weeks. Like I say, if you're not in the exact situation that I'm in, I won't be getting in Dirksen if it's not. If his team's in a shambles, if Retaken isn't named, off Dirksen, yep. Hey, Karen, we had 2 trades. Don't let me forget your message, Karen. We'll do his team and then we'll come back to you. I would never forget you, Karen. Butters, Bontempelli, Merritt, Dacos, Callahan, Sarong. Seems fine. Seems like you got a nice strong midfield. You've got 3 playing rookies on the bench, so I know Cummings and Burton didn't do very well last week, but at least they're making you some money. You still got Lombard making you money too. Scary might come back. Zaka Stensty is sitting there. So honestly, depending on how much money it makes you, mate, but I guess Zaka Stensty could come back. I'd say I'd prefer you went down to the 99 Kalani White and bank 55K, but ZZ might come back and make more money later on, so maybe just hold him. Plus he has the loop. You can loop in the back line as well, which is fine. Grundy, Gorn, very nice. Sheasel, Petrarca, Pickett, Rank, Flanders, Cook, Philippou. Your team looks fine to me, buddy. Your team looks really good. Looks better than mine. All you've got to do, like you've got two rookies here to get off the field, 2 rookies here, and maybe upgrade Cook or even Philippou. Cook's playing well enough, which I regret missing him. 2 players I really regret missing this year. One is Cook and one is Willem Dersma. The 2 probably a good 400, 500K between them that I missed out on. So your team looks fine to me, mate. It's only going to take 1 decent round. So, you should be targeting, hopefully, in the back line to get a couple of, like I say, you got 3 boosts. So come out of the buys, you could have a really strong team, mate. And you've got, if you don't count the flex, like not having a primo in the flex, you've really only got the 1, 2, 3. You got five rookies, and even Cook has been okay at the moment. So you got 5 rookies, and some of these rookies like Lindsay and Murdoch are going to make you enough money to go pretty much 1 up, 1 down. So you seem like at a pretty good spot to me, buddy. I think your team's actually quite good. You think you're a little bit down on yourself, mate. Let's go back to Karen. Karen, you had to do 2 trades last week due to the late red dots. Limited choice when Roses, at least he made some dollars, and Bolter. I'm not expecting much from either of them. Roses got that 5 goal the other week, didn't he? Is that the Roses you're talking about? I know. Again, a bit sorry for everybody who have got NAS. Since you traded them in Clark, Callahan, and Pickett. Well, I'm getting Callahan this week, maybe. So I'm sure he shits the bed if I do that, like it always happens. I think Callahan will be okay, but as we discussed at the beginning of the stream, he's not a guy like a Bont or a Butters that's going to smack out you 130s to 160s very often. He just handballs too often, so he needs to get a lot of possessions and a lot of contested possessions to get those 120 plus scores. So I really think if you're picking Callahan, he's 100 to 120 man. And when he gets tagged, expect he doesn't handle it very well. So expect a 60, a 70, or an 80 when he gets tagged. Hopefully he doesn't get tagged too often. But yeah, at his price, which is why pretty much if he wasn't so cheap, I wouldn't be getting him. But you know, that's what we get when we go cheap. And I brought in Clark too, buddy. So hopefully Clark does a little bit better soon. I think Freo, we're all trying to work out what it is. I'm pretty sure that Freo are turning into the new Hawthorn, where they've got such a good team that it's one of these teams where the scores are spread over the entire team, except for Jackson. Where same with Hawthorn. You never pick any Hawthorn players because the Supercoach scores are spread out over the team. They have a very even, good team, and that's why they're such a good team. And I think Freo are getting to that point as well. It's killing their Supercoach scores, but it's showing that they're a better team. They're not just reliant on Sarong and Brayshaw every week. They've got, and then I think last year they relied on Clark in the back line, but Clark would also run up into the midfield. He would run from the back line to the midfield. He doesn't need to do that anymore. They've got Murphy Reed there. They've got Jackson running around in the midfield. They've got, Shea Bolton running around in the midfield. It's just too many dudes running around there all over the place, and the scores are too spread out all over the place. So that's my theory on Freo, and I'm sticking with it. All right, Ladsy, I hope that helped, buddy. Good luck this week. Like I said, I don't think your team is that bad. And I don't mind the Rankin getting in Rankin. Like, my research and my gut feel says that Rankin's a top 6 forward. I do worry about the next 3 weeks, but, I still think if he can keep that role, and I don't care what they say about Rochelle getting more mid-time. They said that last week and they didn't do it. And someone said they were, I don't know if they're referring to the last week comment, but they said it again this week. This wasn't the coach this time, though. This was someone in chat. I think Rochelle is the one that said it the week before. I don't believe that at all. I think they want Rank in the middle, and Rank looked really good in the middle. Tell me if you don't believe me, but I watched that game and Rank looked awesome in the middle. He was everywhere. He was getting the ball. He was clean. If I was an Adelaide and I was a coach, Rank is in the middle. And Dawson, if you want to play him back, that's fine. But there's no way I'm taking Rank out of the middle. He looked really, really good. All right, Fear the Mad Dog. Grundy and Klug in for MCA. MCA and Pooh. Who is MCA? You got Whitfield, Sinclair. What do we say? You're at 20,000. Oh, season rank 186, mate. Well done. Well done, buddy. Well done. That's awesome. Whitfield, Sinclair, Malera. Very nice to have Malera. Nice to have a bit of a pod there. Clark, Lindsay, Marshall, and Zach, Zizi, and Perez on the pine. Maybe Perez comes back for Barras this week. Maybe. Butters, Bont, Holmes, Merritt, Oliver, Sarong, Murdoch, Schenko, Anderson, Cumming, Burton, Grundy, and Gorn with Smith on. Did you get in Smith this week? Don't know if I'll be getting in Smith as well, crew. He's not going to make very much money. I'd almost prefer to get in Kalani White than Smith, to be honest. Maybe. Because then you're going to have to do another trade later on to go from Smith to Kalani White. So if he's not going to make you $100,000, I don't think I'd get him. Sheasel, Petrarca, Pickett, McInerney, Flanders, Cook, Cluggage. Maybe you meant McCluggage, MCA. MC. Maybe that's who you meant. And Fear the Mad Dog. Grundy and Klug in for MCA. Out MCA. Oh, McAndrew. I'm with you. Cool. Yeah, it looks really nice, mate. So if you put Redco down there, McCluggage up there, you got a very solid. You've only got one spot left in your midfield. I think it's fine, buddy. I think your team is looking in a really good situation. You've got Archie Jones making you money. Maybe Smith making you money is a good idea. Maybe that's better than my idea. What would I know? 3 guys making you money here, and maybe Perez comes back. So, what are you going to do if Marshall doesn't play is my question. What, Mr. Mad Dog, what do you do if Marshall does not play? Jay Uga Chaka, couldn't help myself, wanted to hold Nass, but he'll come back to a Jordan tag, possible Bedford tag. Does then his buy. Don't know if you can watch another second of Archie. You're picking it up. I'm with you, mate. So, Jay, your trades are Roberts in, McCluggage in, and Cross in the forward line. He's one I don't know too much about. I had a look at him, but he still doesn't get me enough money to do what I want to do. So I'm avoiding him. But, if you think he can hold his spot, 136, not too bad. Out Philippine, Wang, and Farrow. Philippou, Wang, and the Farrow. I think Farrow is the one. If you've still got him, you probably need to get rid of Farrow this week. But it looks like some pretty good trades to me, buddy. And if Cross can keep his spot in the team, you've got a bit of money, cash generation going on. It's a little bit blurry, crew, but actually it might look less blurry to you than it does to me. Maybe I need to clean my glasses. But Roberts, Whitfield, Sinclair, Clark, Worrell, Lindsay, Selwood, and Marshall. Good, you've got some coverage there if Marshall doesn't play. Butters, Bont, Dacos, Anderson. Came back to shove it in my face with a 145 this week. Is Anderson back? Can we trust him? I'd want to see it again. But I was one of the ones that traded him out. So maybe I should have kept him. But he was a painful loan. McCluggage, Smith, and Murdoch. Now, there's a lot of talk about whether Mullen gets the McCluggage tag this week. And honestly, if I was getting him in, I don't care. Honestly, I would not care. If he gets the tag, he gets the tag. I also think someone in chat came to me in my chat and they were like, "Here they always go to McCluggage. They love going to McCluggage." Well, Lockie Neal's the man this year. He's the man. He's more dangerous. McCluggage is playing a little bit of wing. He's not, his minutes are up now. Maybe they go to Neal. Maybe they go to Zach Bailey. There's no guarantee they're going to go to McCluggage just because they have the last couple of times. And yes, when he went to them one time, he scored 50. And then the other time, though, they sent it to him and he went and he scored 120. He went and kicked 4 goals. So maybe they send him forward to kick goals again if they put him on him. But I wouldn't be too scared of that tag. Just take it. If you have a down, if he has a down week, if you want McCluggage, just get him in and take the down week. The down week, all your primos aren't going to score huge every week. I think I was very happy that I got him in last week at the absolute cheapest price that he could be. He's got a break even of 77. So even if he gets tagged, there's still a chance he's going to break that break even. He might not go up too much, but he looks like he's back. I was watching him very close last week, and he looked like he was playing from wing a bit, but he was also playing in the midfield a lot. And I think he only had 50% CBAs. I can check that. But he always, whenever he was there, he was very noticeable. 67%, the most he's had. So probably a good week to get him at the expense of Will Ashcroft. So, and he's another man. If Will Ashcroft is in there all the time, he could also go to him. So I'm not saying that he won't get the tag. I'm just saying it's not a definite that he'll get the tag. I think it's probably 50-50 whether he goes to Lockie Neal. And don't forget, in that grand final match when he tagged McCluggage that game, Lockie Neal didn't come on to halftime. So, and we know Lockie Neal is susceptible to a tag. So he might go to Lockie Neal. And I wouldn't be too worried about it anyway. Even if he got you 50 or 60 this week, I think he's going to be a very good pick. Lansy, thanks, mate. Yeah, you think he was ranked and will end up top 6, so grab him while he's cheap. Not much going on for forwards other than Pickett, Shees and Track. Yep, I had the same thinking, mate. And like I said, I watched Rank last week and he looked really good. He looked really dangerous. And just like a Petrarca or a Pickett, if he gets 25 possessions and 2 goals, that's a 130, for most people. So when I look at my forward line, if we don't go Callahan and we get Rank instead, I'm thinking that potentially my forward line could go off. Sheasel could get one, 130. I could get 130 here. I can get 130 here. Even Horn Francis can get a 130 on his day. Flanders showed he got a 120, and without Nass in the team, I think we might see some decent scores out of Flanders. And Philippou, if he was ranked and could go 132, my forward line could literally outscore my back. Well, it could outscore my back line easily because my back line is Poo, not Philippou, but normal Poo. And my midfield, like my midfield is still looking a little bit, especially if we don't have Callahan here, is still looking a little bit light. So that's why next week I wouldn't mind chucking this extra 95K if we go this way on top of Broome to try and pick up someone else at about 480, 490K, whether that is a Zorko or a Rank or a midfielder that's dropped a little bit as well, just to make my team a little bit better. But I'm with you, mate. I think Rank's not a bad choice. I just think he might have a couple of hard weeks. So he will definitely go up this week, but will he go up enough? Like, I think he could still be below 500K when it comes out of his bye in round 12. And I counted that I only have 4 players in the round 12 bye. So if I got him, that would make 5. And my opponent for my leagues, which report me, he has 6 guys out on the round 12 bye. So I'd still be 1 primo up against him. But if I got the Finn Callahan, then I would be 2 primos up against him. And I know in the GWS buy for me, so I've studied this a little bit, that the guy I'm up against has 2 GWS players. He has, I think he has Finn and Whitfield. So only having 1 gives me a chance to beat him 2. So if I don't get rank, I've got a big advantage in round 12. And if I don't get Finn, I've got a big advantage in round 13. So, and either way, I'm still at both 1 primo less than them for that round to try and get myself a few win leagues, get myself back up into that top 4 of the wins. So Michael, with his team Rubik's season rank 13, it's very good, Michael. You're dragging it back very nicely. I know you had a bit of a rough start to the season like I did, but you've been dragging it back every week. So well done, mate. Roberts, Whitfield, Sinclair, Houston, McKercher, Blamiers, Jakes and Carmichael. You're going Carmichael. I'd like to see him. We're big on him pre-season. I'd like to see him named before we do that. I mean, even if you're going for money, why don't you just go Dirksen? But who knows? Maybe he's named. Butters, Bont, Dacos, Walsh, Cook, Philippou, Sardis, Rechko. If Sardis comes back this week, I'll be happy for you, but I'll be extremely angry for myself, considering I traded him last week. And the whole Sharp situation, injury and everything makes me want to strangle Brad Scott and the Tyson Edwards that I have as well. So when will Brad Scott get fired? One's gone. 1 out of 2. 1 of 2's gone. Actually, Bossy didn't get fired. He fell on his own sword, samurai style. So I was going to try. I used to know what the name is, but it's missing me now. Grundy, Gorn, Sheasel, Petrarca, Pickett, Bolton, Bailey, and Flanders. Your forward line looks good. Jackson there in the flex. Yep, looks all good. Marshall, Lombard, you still got some money here. You've had Smith since the beginning, so I remember that. You're not getting him in, which is good. So you could have making money, hopefully making money. I don't think I'd be City Murdoch on the bench, buddy. But you probably had, you had Sardis as your loop, so that's nice. And just, want to potentially keep an eye on that, but that's why we have the flex at the moment. Good work, Michael. I like it. Let's go. Let's have do a few more of the chatty chats. Karen, if Clark scores poorly against Essendon, we'll trade him out to Zorko. My plan with Clark, Karen, is to wait until after he's had his bye and then hopefully just wait till he goes to have his bye, because I have a lot of people on that bye, because I've got Houston and Dacos, both the Dacoses and Walsh all on that bye. I think I have 6 on that bye. So my plan is, if Jordan doesn't pull his head out, or if like a Dacos or a Houston continues to score badly and Jordan comes back, that I will be going up, not down, potentially to a Whitfield or a Roberts or something. But I did consider doing what you're thinking about, making a little bit of money going to Zorko. Looks like Zorko is going to be more consistent because he has the kickouts. So I understand it. I'd prefer, I think Zorko could be in the ballpark of top 10. So I think that's fine. We don't love the sideways. If you could somehow get one of the rookies up to Zorko, which is more what I'm trying to do, I prefer it, but I understand as Jordan is being really rough. It's been a really rough own. Samson, Ryan King, you still here, buddy? You still with us? Just before we get in your team, Lansy, what are your thoughts on Bowery as a pod as he took 9 kick-ins last week? Did he? I've had him in draft before. I didn't realise that he's taking the kick-ins, though. What did he score, though? He better scored huge for... If you take that many kick-ins, you better score massive. Nine out of 8. So if you're taking 9 kick-ins, this should be well over 100. If he didn't score over 100, I'm not interested. 105. 21 kicks, 5 handballs, 4 marks, 3 tackles, 5 contested possessions, 85% efficiency rate, time on ground 81. I think it's reasonable. How much is he? I was almost going to put it in chat. I was almost going to try and put it in chat. Oh, he's 500K. No, I'm not paying 500K for him. I prefer to go. I like Blakey at 500K, to be honest. And Zorko as well. He's never been the kick-in man before, has he? Is this the first time he's been the kick-in man? He hasn't this season, but I don't think he's played this season. Let's look in his past years. Kick-out's 9. Oh, he has been a kick-out man before. Let's see when he gets this week. He got 95 where he had 7. He had 7 here and he got 60. Yeah, I don't love it. Look, he's hardly ever scored 100 before, and he has been a kick-in man before. This time he took 5 for 109, 5 for 113, 5 for 93. I don't think he's a potential primo defender for 500K. I'd prefer Blakey is at 500K, and I think he's going to be more potential. Not Blakey. Blake. How do you spell it? Nick Blakey. That's it. I think he's got more chance of actually getting you big scores, like 128, 124, 115, 107, 127. If I'm getting in anyone over 450K in my backline, I want to know they can do a 130 on their good day, especially if they're getting kick-ins. Like, I think Zorko can get a 120 or 130 on his day. He's done it, regularly before. Blakey obviously can. He's done it multiple times this season. Whitfield can. We know that RT Roberts can. If I'm getting someone in my backline right now, I want to know that they can go 120, 130 on their day. Because that's when you have those big scores, right? You get, you just have that lucky, the Supercoach gods come down and kiss you, on the you-know-what. And or your backline scores 120 pluses. Or like we were talking about before, maybe I'll have a round where if all my forwards score 120 plus, I might have a 2,500 plus round. Whether that's going to happen for me is a miracle, and it's more likely to happen in the back line than the forward line. But the same as your midfielders, if all your midfielders come out smack 120 plus, you have a big round. So no, I don't like Bowie now that I've looked at him. Not for 500. If you said he was 350K, I'd consider it. At 500, no. Nope. I think LDU after his bye, awesome. Unless you've got hardly anyone on the round 12 bye, Darren. But LDU had a great season. I did a big video about him, Darren. It's a bit late now, but played pre-season. I did a few like player spotlights, and I did a big video and said how good I thought he was going to be and how you should pick him, and then I didn't pick him. So can't say much, but yeah, I think he's a very viable pick, especially with Sherry shoving that ball down his throat every 5 seconds. So Sampson, Ryan King with Sampson Stiffy, Roberts, Whitfield, Sinclair, Houston, Blamires, Edwards. Very nice defense there. I really hate the fact that I don't have either of Whitfield or Roberts, especially after I just talked about how I did a video for LDU. I also did a video for Whitfield, and I didn't pick him either. So Seano is great at not taking his own advice. Do what Seano says, not what Seano does. That should be the theme of that's the theme of this year, I think. Do what Seano says, not what Seano does. I think I've given some really good advice to you crew out there. I think I've been right a lot of the time. I've been wrong some of the time. Everybody gets it wrong. If you think you're never wrong, well, you're probably a dickhead. Excuse my language. But you're also incorrect. If you think you're never wrong, you are. Even when you think you're not, you are. That's just the facts of life. No one is ever never wrong. But I do my research. I do base my thoughts and opinions on not just pulling them out of my ass. I do actually think about that, and I go through the histories and everything. And sometimes you're just wrong. Like Clark, I thought Clark would come back, but I was just wrong. So, yep, you can be wrong. It's allowed to be wrong. Now, non-Supercoach related, I'm going to give you a bit of a tip. For someone who's been, worked a long time, probably older than most of you young whippersnappers out there in chat, if you are wrong in a situation, like a work situation or whatever, people will respect you a lot more if you put your hand up and you say, sorry, I was wrong. Admit that you were wrong. Don't make up excuses. Don't blame other people. Don't go on a bloody rampage and you're like, but Jono said it was okay. Put your hand up. Say, sorry, I was wrong. And I'll try my best not to do that again. And then try not to do it again. Don't say, I'll try not to do it again, and then do it 5 seconds later for the same person who, like, your boss or whatever said, don't do that. And you're like, okay, I'm sorry, I did that, but I won't do it again, and then do it again 5 seconds later. Don't do that. Actually try not to do it again. You'll get a lot more respect than trying to, lying, blaming other people, or, just being a big sook about it. Put your hand up, be a respectable human being, admit when you're wrong, and you'll get respect. Cook, Stan, where were we? That's enough of my rant today. That's Seano's life advice. We should have a segment, Seano's life advice. That's what that you could just like switch off for those 5 minutes where I give I give good advice, but no one ever listens anyway. Jackson, Gorn, Edwards, still got Edwards there, made him some money. I should have done that at the beginning of the season. Thought about that, didn't do it. Sheasel, Petrarca, Pickett, Flanders, Cook, Steen could get a nice peak score for all you lucky Steen owners out there if Mr. Darcy Cameron is not named. Good for Grundy owners, good for the Steen owners if that happens. Toby Murray, well, hopefully he can get another couple of decent scores for you. If McAndrew is out, they'll probably bring in Rob if McAndrew is left out, right? But if they don't, maybe they give Murray a go, but I'm pretty sure they'd probably bring in Rob. And Liam Henry, you're going to have a go at Henry, that's fine. And you got Bailey Smith there. So I think that's really good. Samson Ryan King. So I think you're doing very, very good there. Pretty happy with how your team's going, except for coverage in your back line. After these trades, you have 90K and 20 trades. It's excellent. All these people have more trades than me. Carroll, Lindsay, Philippou, Edwards. Edwards, Henry, see. Is Carroll going to lose you money? Samson, what ranking are you? Where are you? You are ranking... Season rank 9,000. How desperate are you, Samson? This is my question to you. How desperate are you to go up maybe 1,000 spots. If you're desperate to go up 1,000 spots, do these trades. Otherwise, don't boost. Don't get Will Edwards or Liam Henry. And just, Lindsay's a good rookie. He could potentially get you an 80. Philippou, with no Nas in the team, this is the time where Philippou could score okay. He could score okay. And Carroll, I thought that didn't he get 100 a couple of weeks ago? Is he already declined to getting back to his 40s or something, has he? Break even of 76. Yeah, okay. Okay, so Carroll, I'm fine. Dump Carroll. You got a 43, 57, 43, 100 comes out this week. Okay, yeah, dump Carroll, fine, not a problem. But Lindsay, I mean, I know he's got a high break even as well, but he's not going to go down that much. Even if he gets a 70 or something, he's not going to go down that much. He's taken the kick-ins at the Eagles. He's on field. There are talks about Bailey Smith being a potential out too this week. So not knowing for sure, but again, another one to keep look out for the team sheets. Seano cannot speak. Bailey Smith is at 620. I don't know. Who else you got in your midfield? You got basically one spot after him. You've already got Holmes. You've got Bont. You've got Shears. How many round 16 players is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wouldn't be getting Bailey Smith now, mate. That gives you six round 16 players. Wait till after his bye. If you still really want him after his bye, get him then. If you're going to pick a midfielder, if you desperately want to get a midfielder, get someone like a Hugh McCluggage. Save your money. If you can maybe get the Hugh McCluggage with only one, or maybe here's the time to get a rank, or maybe here's the time to get Zorko. I don't think it's the time to get Bailey Smith for your particular team. Now, that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean that you might not go up in, you're not going to win Supercoach. I'm sorry to break it to you. If you're not in the top 100 to 200 now, you pretty much got no chance of winning. You're too far behind. But, so what, like I said earlier, what does a few hundred spots? It's probably worth probably getting Bailey Smith in if he gets you 150 as opposed to having like a Lindsay in, it gets you an 80 or whatever. It's probably worth a couple of hundred spots. How much are those couple of hundred spots worth to you? Is it worth in round? You probably lose that ranking in round 16 when you've got 6 players out. You probably lose any points you gain in the next few weeks. You know what I mean? Or lose any ranking you gain by having a terrible score in that round. You might drop the ranking that you get anyway. I'd much prefer that you get one of these, decent, even if you didn't like any of the ranking, the Zorko or the Hugh McCluggage picks, you pick another midfielder. Pick another midfielder that you want. Who was maybe Isaac Heaney? I mean, he's got a good buy. So he's a gun. Is he cheaper? Is he cheaper than Bailey Smith? $651. No, he's more expensive. Anyway, that's just my advice, buddy. I don't think you desperately need to have Bailey Smith this week. And if you've got 90K after these trades, if you were desperate to do these same trades and got a Hugh McCluggage, you would have, an extra 150. You potentially have 250K, which is an easy one up, one down next week in your back line or your forward line. I think you're blowing up your team just to get in Bailey Smith that has a bad buy for you. So I wouldn't be doing it. Hey, Trevor. Hey, how are you? He's expert in anything other than... I certainly wasn't an expert in Marvel Strike Force. If you guys are thinking, what the hell is that? That's what I used to stream on Twitch before we did AFL, before we did fantasy. And Trevor, I have to admit, I enjoy this much more because it's the game that I love, the best game in the world. which you're going to disagree with because you're probably not from Australia. Actually, Trevor, you might be from Australia. You might be, but most of the people were from the US or the UK that watched, and they've probably never seen a game of AFL, and they probably think that soccer or baseball is the best game in the world or something like that, where obviously we all know and here on Supercoach land that AFL is the best game in the world. And Supercoach is something that I love playing and I really enjoy, and I enjoy talking and bullshitting about it. Is Durham worth considering as asking option? I don't. He's worth considering, but I wouldn't pick him. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He's worth considering, but I would not be picking him. He doesn't have, again, it's not the time to be picking stepping stones. He doesn't seem to have a ceiling. He's never gone. No, I picked the wrong one, have I? Not Durham. Let's try that again. Durham. So the best he's ever gone in his entire career is a 90. Now, I know his CBAs are good. Can you trust Brad Scott? No. The answer is no. So, Jeremy, he had 78 last week. Jai Cudwell back this week, maybe takes probably some of those CBAs. He definitely takes CBAs from someone, Jai Cudwell. So whether it's him or maybe he takes Roby's, sorry if you got Roby in your teams, CBAs away, it's got to be one of those, right? It's either going to be Roby's losing his or Durham's losing his. Now, when Jai Cudwell did play, 41%. I'm not too sure if that's because he's injured. Durham had 84 that game too. So maybe Roby is the man. He got up. So it looks like Roby might be the one that loses CBAs. But even then, his scores weren't even that good, right? His scores weren't even that great. They were 100 and 100, right? 102 and 106. As a full-time midfielder with 78 and 84% CBAs, not interested. You can get him in the forward line, right? Mid-forward, 389. I'd prefer if you went rank. I'd honestly prefer if you went rank. I could, if you're desperate for cheap money, spend the least possible, maybe you could go there. If you hold those CBAs, I think he's good for a 90. I think those hundreds might be slightly over for him. I think he's good for maybe a 90 to 100 each week, which is not far off the top. I mean, it's not far off the top, guys. So if you wanted to go real cheap in the forward line, if that allows you to get a Archie Roberts in the back or a Whitfield in the back line, you know, if you're a bit of a cheapskate like me and that allows you to do that, I guess it's okay. But no, I'm not a big fan. I don't see any spike scores coming. Anyone I'm getting now, I want potential for a spike score. If they can't hit 130 on a good day, I don't want them. That's basically how I'm sorry, but that's how I'm looking at my team. If I'm ever going to move up or have like a really big round or whatever, I need my whole team to be able to go 120 plus. And I feel like all my primos I've got now can go 120 plus on a decent day. These three backline guys, the chances of them doing Buckley's, but we saw Houston win a 135 a few weeks ago, and Dacos scored a 135 on his first week and never done it again. But Butters can, Bont can, Dacos can, Walsh can. I think Callahan can, Cluggage can, Jackson and Gawn can, Sheasel, Petrarca, Pickett, Horn-Francis, and even Flanders just showed last week he can go a 120. So I think I'm looking to get in players that can have spike scores. Alex, that's you? That's me. Sorry. There's a poker player that says, that's me. Yeah, 100%. Sydney try to get it to the Lizard any chance they can get. Yep. Like we talked about, if you've got 500K to spend, I don't quite have 500K. Even if I did, I would have this way, but I need that 95K in the bank. So that's why I would go Zorko over the Lizard this week. But yeah, the Lizard looks really good, and I think at 500k, if you've got a little bit more money than me, is definitely a decent pick. Supercoach Pro, nice to see you. Everyone, if you're not already checking out Supercoach Pro, please go and sub to his channel. Love his work, love his videos, and his rants are the best. So make sure you check him out. How are you doing today, buddy? You're looking at Durham this week, no joke. Big dog score. I mean, well, you know, maybe if you think it is, you are the pro, mate, Supercoach Pro. So maybe it is. I just, like I said, Supercoach Pro, I can't see a ceiling score. Has he ever got a ceiling score with bulk CBAs? 69. Like he's never scored more than 100 and he's never got more than 105 ever. The entire time. The time he got 112. I lie. Seano's a liar. And he had 92% CBAs and he got 112 off 15 of 28 possessions, 15 contested. I mean, he gets a lot of contested possessions. I mean, the stat line reads like he should be able to get decent scores. I'm not too sure why he's not. Probably his efficiency rate, disposal efficiency, 62 and 63. Not great. If he could pick that up to be like a 70 to an 80, these are 110, 120 scores. I think it's a risk. I think it's a calculated risk that could work out. He's very cheap, which is the big. If he wasn't that cheap, if he was 450 to 550, you probably wouldn't even be considering him. But the role seems okay as long as he keeps it. So, all right, you're slightly swaying me. I'm not going there, but I can understand if you're going to go there. And I think, well, you got to take risks to win Supercoach or to go up. Yeah, it's not for me, but I can understand if you're going there. And then when he goes really well for the next few weeks and starts scoring 115, she can come back and say, I told you so. It's Mano. How you going, Mano? Would you pay up to get Roberts in 2 trades or use a final boost to get another ruckman in flex? You have Sherry and Gorn and run it round in R1, R2. I would save your boost and get Roberts. If you can get Roberts in 2 trades, save that boost. I keep saying having a boost during the buys is extremely valuable. I don't think people having 4 trades in 1 round is so useful. It is so useful. And so I didn't have it last year and I had a little tear for myself. The year before, I think I had 2 boosts going into the buys and I used them both during the buys and it was fantastic. And that year was a good year for me before I started streaming. One of the better years that I had in a while, I believe. And I came out of the buys in a very, very good situation after having 4 boosts. I had plenty of coverage, plenty of rookies, and pretty much very close to a full primo team. And I might have even won my league that year. So, yeah, if you don't, you can. So I guess the only rookie you're looking at is Grundy, right? So, I mean, Jackson, I guess you could look at Jackson as well, but really most people, like you're probably talking about Grundy, I'd assume, Mano. And he's got a great matchup this week. He's got a great matchup. I won't deny it. But he cost how much? What's the difference in cost? I think Roberts can score as much as Grundy on a, Roberts is 597. Grundy's is 676. So an extra 80K. And he's got to break even a 183. No. He's going to come down. Just wait. Just wait till he's by. Wait, Yes, he might score 150 this week. Say he has a bad game and scores 130. Isn't that disgusting when you're saying have a bad game? So if he scores 130, he'll be at 650. Get Roberts this week. Think about getting, save that boost. Maybe some rookies come along in the next couple of weeks. Get Grundy then. I am potentially thinking about trying to, rob a bank and get Sherry after his buy. that way, I think by that time I'm okay with locking up my flex position with a ruck. But I don't know. It would have to be something like, for me, I'd have to go like Bruin up to him. It's the only way I'm going to do it. I'm not too sure who you're getting in either. If you're getting in some of these dodgy rookies, it might definitely, if you have to get in 2 dodgy rookies, or if you're going like a Dirksen and a dodgy rookie, I think Roberts. If it was me, I'd go Roberts, mate. Just use 2 trades, just get Roberts, and Roberts might score you 150 anyway. You know, Grundy might score 150, Roberts scores you 150, and it costs 80k less. Yes, Grundy could score 170 or 180 this week, but he might not. Hey, Kristen, how are you? First time listener. Thank you very much. Welcome. Please sub if you're not already subbed, Kristen, and please like all you crew out there. Did you like when I asked you guys to like last time? We got 19 viewers and we got 12 likes, almost. Seano's a little bit happier, but there's still at least, what are we at, 7 people out there watching that haven't liked. So, yeah, why not do that now? Just click, you know. Click. It's not hard. Hey, Kristen, I hope you're doing very well. Thank you very much for watching and being here. I appreciate every one of you, everyone here in chat, including yourself. Enjoying my content, thank you. After some advice with your trades, we Callahan, McCluggage, or Dale this week. Oh, this is thing. All right, you're throwing me a tricky one. I like them all, and I'll give you the reasons not to pick them. I'll give you the reasons to pick them and not to pick them. So I have 2 out of the 3. Callahan, very susceptible to a tag. These are the bad reasons. He needs a lot of possessions and a lot of contested possessions to get a spike score of like 120 plus. Very good player though. So they're the bad things about him. You know, very susceptible to a tag, and the good things are, so that was a bad thing, and needs a lot of possessions and contested possessions to get a big score. The good things, he has a very good buy. 488 is a bargain for a guy that I was actually really keen on him pre-season, which is always, if you're keen on someone pre-season and then, you know, they have a few down games. And the reason is he's not injured, he's not underperforming, he was just tagged. So to me that says he's still 100 to 120 guy, except when the games he doesn't get tagged. In the games he gets tagged, you're just going to have to live with a 70 or whatever. Now, there are players that don't get tagged, so that's a downfall of getting him. You're just going to have to cop one of those bad scores. And I think depending on what you're interested in, like I'm really into my leagues, and I went and looked at his last 4 games where he's got Sydney, Port, Gold Coast and West Coast. So Sydney almost definitely gets a tag in the first week of the Supercoach finals, which is a bit of a pain, but after that, no tag. So as long as I can make it through the first week without getting knocked out, which is always a possibility if I'm in like 7th or 8th of getting knocked out, that would be, fine for me to get him. And I might not get him this week either. McCluggage, also bad things about McCluggage, potentially gets a tag this week, but there's no guarantee of that. He may not. He may. But honestly, I don't think it matters. He's very cheap as well. He has a very good buy. He doesn't need a lot of possessions to get a good score. 1, he scores goals, and 2, he kicks the ball a lot, which as opposed to, he's the opposite to Finn. Finn handballs a lot, needs 30 possessions plus and a lot of contested to get a decent score. If we go down here and have a look at our mate McCluggage, so you see he's not like last week, he only got 25 possessions, right? But 11 kicks, which is actually, and 14 handballs. And sometimes, quite often, it's more than that. If we go down to last year where he had his bit of a run, it's like 16 kicks, 16 handballs, 14 kicks, 14 handballs, 21 kicks, 9 handballs. So he likes to kick the ball and he has a high points per minute. So he doesn't need to get a ton of the ball to actually get you a decent score. So if the only thing is, will he get that? He's at 67% CBAs now. If we want him to be scoring the 130s and the 120s. He needs to be more like 75 to plus CBAs. But even at his score now, I think he's a 100 guy now. I think they both score very similar. And I think McCluggage is less likely to be tagged this year with unless he starts being the man, because Lachie Neale has been the man. And Lachie Neale has shown in previous years that he is susceptible to the tag. So I got a feeling that this year teams are more likely to tag Lachie Neale. I can't guarantee that, though. Obviously, that's just my personal opinion and what I would do if I was a coach. And the other thing I like about Hugh McCluggage is he likes to score a goal. Like these games where he's had these big one goal, he scored 4 goals. This game where he scored 4 goals against Geelong, grand final, that's with a Mullen tag for at least. So they went forward. He can score. When he scores goals, he goes big. So I don't think Callaghan is much of a goal scorer, to be honest, if I was to look up Finn. So I like that about him as well. I think he's got potential to go bigger more regularly than Finn, if he's got that role. The only worry with Hugh McCluggage is there's a lot of people going through that Brisbane midfield at the moment. So let's have a look. How many goals? How often? Finn hardly ever scores goals. He's got a couple there, got one there. So, and yeah. So as we can see, he's only really gone over 120. Last year he did it 1, 2, 3, 4. He did it 5 times last year. He went over 120 in his big breakout year. And and what about Hugh last year? And I guess it was Hugh's big breakout year. They both had a big breakout year last year. Hugh, how many times did you manage to go over 120 last? That's not the right Hugh. I think they're both good picks, to be honest. I don't know. I guess I don't think you can go wrong with either of them, but I like Hugh better. Like this Hugh 157, he can do this. That was with no goals. Like last year, 129, a 124, a 124, a 122, a 131, a 159. He can go really big in the right role. Whether he's going to get that full-on midfield, take the CBAs away from somewhere else. So look how many big scores he's got last year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 scores over 120. So, if I'm looking at that, I'm picking Hugh McCluggage. And if he gets tagged this week, so be it. Finn Callaghan's going to get tagged in the week, in the distant future. So, out of those two, I'm going Finn. Dale, I do like Dale. The only thing I don't like about Dale is I had him last year. And last year, he did exactly what he did this year. I think he went something stupid. Let's have a look up here, because he went like 150, 150, and then I got him in, and then he went 75 or something like that at the beginning of the season. Bailey Dale. And then he was up and down. So that's beginning of 2025. I think he had this run. This would have been like 127, 144. So he had a bit of a run like he's having now. And then he went 80, 119, 129. Then that was awesome. But then he went 83, 99, 65, 93, 109. He went this whole, basically he went 2 months with his top score being 109. All in the 90s though, but with a 65. So he wasn't exactly a full-on primo. So I'm expecting that. Last week he got an 86. He does love Marvel Stadium. They're playing at Marvel a lot. I think he's a reasonable pick. I don't think he's a Lachie Whitfield pick. I don't think he's going to score as well as Lachie Whitfield. I don't think he's going to score as well as Archie Roberts. At the end of the season, maybe he gets Sinclair, pips him off if he can continue this off, but I don't think so. I prefer both of those midfielders to him. but I think he's a bit cheaper, right? 532K. So he's actually the most expensive out of all of them, so I like him the least. I'd prefer if you spent a little bit extra money and get Whitfield or Roberts if you don't already have them. I think they'll be more consistent as the season goes on. But again, Kristen, that's just my opinion. I've been known to be wrong. I never claimed to be an expert. I've been playing Supercoach a long time, and I base it on what you just saw. I have a good look at the stats. I'm a stats guy, and I also like to watch the games and have a look at him. He's a ball pig. He will get you decent scores, but if I had to go this week, I'd get the cheaper guys, and there's a good chance that he gets another, like he's got to break even at 53 this week, so he's going to go up. But for me, there's just as much chance at Zorko scoring as much as Bailey Dale by the end of the season, or averaging the same as him for the average season by the end of the season, and he's 50K less, and he'll probably still be less than him next week. So count the Callahan and the McCluggage. As for break-evens, Callahan's 85, so he won't get away from you. McCluggage is the one, and he's 77, so McCluggage is the one that's probably going to go, Dale will go up the most, but I think McCluggage is the one that, out of all three, I like McCluggage the best. But if he gets 70 this week with a Mullen tag, please don't blame me. But the week after, I'm sure he'll be fine. And Callahan against the Eagles could easily get 150 this week. So I think they're all picks, good picks, but I'd be picking one of the midfielders if it was me. Corey, how you going? Considering Noble, Blakey as both buys don't matter, and Roberts or Sherry and Zorko as first gives me Liam Henry second and Will Edwards. So you would have to get Henry and Edwards, and then you're getting Noble and Blakey and Roberts. So you can get Noble, Blakey, and a Roberts or a Sherry or a Zorko. You can get all three of those guys. Corey, is that what you're saying? You did. I think you showed me your team, but it was in the other section, right? It was in the live YouTube vids. Supercoach chat. West Coast rule. I will get to your team in a moment. I didn't realize it was there, buddy. Post your team here. Oh, we got a few more team. Got another team to do there as well. Swear I saw your team. Maybe I'm blind, buddy. I swore I saw your team in the not post your team here section. But anyway, so Kirsten, sorry, I almost called you Kirsten. Kristen, I hope that helps you out, and thanks so much for watching and the nice comments. Yeah, Corey, so yeah. No, it would be one of Noble, Blakey, and Roberts, or Sherry Zorko and one of the rookies. How's Noble? Is Noble a pick? Is Noble a noble man? $500K, break even 42, round 12 buy. Oh, I don't love him. He's been on a long stretch of 80s and 90s. Couple of good games. Is there a reason? Have you done your due diligence, Corey? And is there a reason why all of a sudden he's going 130s as opposed to 90s? Is somebody out of the team, or is his position changed, or is he taking a lot of kick-outs or something like that? Is he a kick-in dude? Is he a kick-in kind of dude at John Noble? He took no kick-ins last week. So he was taking kick-ins, and then when he doesn't take kick-ins, he gets a big score. Okay. So if you've done your research and you know something, that's why he's scoring that, I could understand going with it. If nothing's changed, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back to the 80 and 90s, and I'd probably prefer, like, Blakey is at 500K as well. Just saying. He's, the Lizard is also there, and we saw Ballydale for 530. And what were the other options? The other options were, let's go down and then we'll come back up. Sherry and Zorko. Oh, you're already going Blakey, I see. You're already getting Blakey, so you'll be getting two of them. You don't like a Zorko? What, you don't like Blakey and Zorko? I mean, would be Noble, Blakey, and Roberts. Noble, Blakey, and Roberts, or Sherry and Zorko. I guess you're getting 3 primos instead of 2, mate. So if you gave me no other option, I'd be saying probably go the Noble, Blakey, and Roberts. You're getting 3 primos for, and the other one you're only getting Sherry and Zorko. And Sherry's buy's coming up, so maybe that one. Maybe. It's Mano. You can go Mitch Edwards down to Kalani White and go Kitty Coleman up to Roberts and have 20 trades left, or I can go McAndrew, Todd Marshall, Mitch Edwards to Kalani White, Grundy, Will Edwards and have 19. If Mitch Edwards isn't making you any more money and you just do that straight, Mitch Edwards down to Kalani White and Kitty Coleman up to Roberts, I like that. Just 2 trades. You're not getting in a dodgy rookie. Like, I know I've got Will Edwards. I don't think I'll have him after the teams come out. I really don't think I'm getting it. I just don't think he makes enough money. But to be honest, we're only getting him because there's nothing else, right? So if you can avoid getting one of these dodgy rookies this week, don't get him. Just don't get him. If, like I said in my trades and captains videos, if you've got a player like whoever, let's pick Bruin for instance, and you've got enough money you've got 150k in the bank, and you've got enough money to slap that 150 on Bruin and get like or whatever, even 100k, get a Callahan, get a Hugh McCluggage for 40 more k or something, whatever. Just do that. Just do that this week. Wait till next week, and then maybe we'll have some rookies. And then I think it's the week after, between 11 and 12, that maybe the mid-season draft happens. I know that's when we'll get the new DPP players. I think it's before the buy start that they do the mid-season draft. Don't count me on that. If you know for sure, let me know in chat which round, but in between which rounds do they do the mid-season draft, and then we can potentially, hopefully, have some good rookies then. I don't see much on the horizon for next week either, but saving trades now is not a bad idea. These are the perfect weeks to save trades. Between now and round 12 are great weeks to save trades, especially if you're very low. Like I know, Mano, you said you have 1 million boosts, right? So if you like Mano and you got 1 million boosts, maybe just go for it because you haven't used them all already. If you're like me and you're a sad remaining trade 17, which is very sad, probably these are great weeks to be saving trades, especially if you're not pushing for the top 100 or so. Yeah, Mano, same as me. If Dirkson's named, he's in. If we are, hey Sean, if we are a McAndrew R2 owner, have Steen on the bench, if he's rested, do we trade or hold? McAndrew, well, the beautiful thing for you guys is they're talking about the other Cameron being out, so Steen could have his best game of the season. It is up against Grundy, but he still will be the full-time ruck, so you'd want to expect a 70 out of him or an 80 out of him. That might not be his best game of the season, but at least it's not a 40, right? So you can go either way. I do think it's a reasonable time. I think McAndrew has made enough money that you can definitely sell him. So I think there's no rule or whatever that says you must keep him now. Isn't it MCC? MAC, McAndrew. MCA. MCA. He's got a break even of 50 though. So I think either way is fine, buddy. But you could hold him, wait for him to play, one more week, make you a tiny bit more money, and then boot him the week before his round 12 bye. Depending on how many players you've got out on that round 12 bye, and depending on what you're going to do, what your plan is. Are you getting another ruck to get, to go into that spot? If you are, which ruck do you want? What is your buy situation for those rucks? So if you were good for round 12 and you went from McAndrew to Sherry, you only get him for a couple of weeks, So I think it's fine to sell, and it's fine to do both. He's not a must sell at all. He definitely could make you some more money. So you don't have to sell him. But if he gets you, if he gets you something you really want, if he gets you a Roberts, he gets you a Whitfield, he gets you, someone in the midfield that you really want, you get your Max Holmes or something, then I think it's fine to sell. But at the same time, I think you can definitely hold on to him for at least one more week coming up to his buy to make maybe an extra, could be anywhere. If he came out and got like an 80, you'd be getting an extra 20K. So I think they're both fine. Bodie Ewan, I did notice that Bodie Ewan is having a sneaky, doing well for himself. He's having a sneaky good season. Why can't Seano ever spell? Give me a break. Defenders, Gold Coast, Adelaide. That's why it won't let me do it. Still won't let me do it. Is it spelled that way? Is it short spelled that way? Defenders, Gold Coast. UWL. Break even at 41. 100, 470K, 137, 170, 70s, 100, 120, 95, 71. Yeah, I don't know if it's for me. Again, I don't think he looks like he's got that high ceiling too often. He's done it twice, but he's only done it twice. I think I'd go Zorko over him. Besides the injury scare, he's got last 2 weeks 108, 137. Maybe he's coming into some form, 70, 70, 100, 100, 100. I guess it's fair. Put him in the same boat as Zorko and the Lizard. Probably like the Lizard out of the three of them the best. Just beat Zorko and body-wise and seems to have a decent high ceiling. But yeah, I think he's a sneaky pick. Like Blakey, yep. How can you not like Blakey? He looks awesome. Kristen, thanks heaps. Yeah, no, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. If it wasn't for you guys, these are my favorite. Like, I don't mind doing the videos because, like I say, I like to crap on about Supercoach, and probably people who know me probably say I talk too much. So I'm very suited to doing this type of thing. So, but if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. And these are my favorite, the live streams, which we do on Thursday. I was a bit disappointed that I couldn't do it last week, but you didn't want me coughing and snotting all over the microphone because that wouldn't have been very nice. So yeah, so I really appreciate everyone being here. You already have Whitfield, Roberts, and Sinclair. Wow. Sounds like you have an awesome team, Kristen. You should send your team through to my Discord or give me the name of your team and I'll put it up on screen. We'll have a look at it. Had Dale last year and also was very up and down for sure. Yeah, didn't love it myself. It wasn't a roller coaster. I'm not a big fan of roller coasters, saying it wasn't the ride I enjoyed. Take a punt on McCluggage. Okay. Like I said, don't be too disappointed though if he does get the tag and has a low score this week. But I think out of the three of those, he has the most potential. The potential for who score big and do really well. And yeah, I think I like McCluggage. I think I was watching the Brisbane game last night. He's a big, strong man, and he looks good in that midfield. He looks very clean. You know, when the game seems to slow down for players, they talk about when the good players, when they get the ball, the game seems to slow down and they seem to find, they find a player and they're not all rushed. That's what it looked like to me. Plus, he was, big bodied dude who was hard to stop. So I like the look. I liked what I saw, and I liked my 110 that he got me 111 in his first week of my team. So I hope that goes well for both you and me. I think we did see another team, right? Kawahi, is that how you say it? Team's looking good besides the fact you had to trade Nass out. Yeah, what a bummer, hey? Funny, stupid. But even worse, not so much trading him out, but the old managed last minute BS by the club. Yep. We're looking at Klug and Callahan next week. Nice. Makes your team look a lot better knowing you're starting Roberts, LDU, and Jackson. Yeah, that's all really good starts. Rank 771. Is that what that said? Very nice. Very nice season rank. So you're right up there. You got Roberts, Whitfield, Sinclair, Clark, Lindsay, Blamiers. Yeah, very nice. Looks like you got Dirksen in this week. Again, I don't think I'll be doing that unless he is named. Heaney, very nice. Butters, Bont, Holmes, Dacos, LDU, Murdoch, Sharp. You got all playing rookies here. That's nice. Sherry, the big Sherry and Jackson, nice. ZZ, Cheezel, Petrarca, Pickett, Cook, Philippou, Jones, Grundy. You've got when you're as high as rank as you, I think it's fine to have the three big rucks. And you still got Lombard making you some money, who I sold for LDU, who's done absolutely, cost twice as much as him and done nothing. So good for you for holding him. Yep, looks really like you have a really nice team, mate. And well done on the rank. And yeah, I hope you have a good week this week as well. Maybe, I don't know what your mission is, to try and maybe get the top 200 or something. I think from 700 you might be able to scrape yourself into the top 200. Yeah, Dirk's Wanganeen, so you're getting Wanganeen out for Grundy in. You're getting your three big rucks now. Fair enough. Seems reasonable. Did this one just appear? Maximus. Max will run. Run, Max, run. Season rank 12,000. Not too bad. Top 10%. That's usually what I aim for. So that's a pretty good rank as far as I'm concerned. Roberts, Whitfield, Sinclair, Dacos, Worrell, Lindsay. Worrell's been a bit disappointing, hasn't he? Almost as disappointing as Dacos. Both of those guys need to up their game a little bit. I believe, I'm hoping for, they say this every week, and every week I hope, and every week it doesn't happen, that Dacos may get a bit more time in the midfield. There's no Scott Pendlebury this week. So maybe at last they actually give Dacos a bit more of a go in the midfield. I mean, he got bloody 200 last time he played in the midfield, like 200 Supercoach points, if you remember that. Just give him a go there. He's not doing much back of the line. They got so many backmen, it doesn't matter. Let him have a run up in the midfield, for God's sake. Butters, Bont, Dacos, Oliver, Walsh. Wish I had the cojones to go Oliver. Walsh, Ashcroft. Ashcroft is threatening. He's threatening every week to have a big score. It's just not coming off at the moment. Murdoch, Roberts, Roshenko, Anderson, Burton, Gorner, McAndrew with Reedy. And then you got Sheasel, Petrarca, Pickett, Flanders, Rochelle, Cook, Marshall, and Lombard. Yep, doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all. Obviously, there's a few things you need to do there, but your rank is what I would call respectable, very reasonable. I would be much, much happier to have your rank than my stupid rank of 50,000, which is going to be very hard for me to do, as a lot of teams they're starting to look a little bit different, but, they still look pretty close in a lot of situations. So I don't know about you guys. I'm going to have my little whinge here. I know a few other people have had their whinges about it too. The old Scott Pendlebury jumper. Now, I think Scott Pendlebury is an absolute legend, and I'm happy and not happy that he'll be playing the Eagles because I get to watch him play in his record-breaking game, and I'll also get to watch him probably destroy the Eagles, which won't make me very happy. But this whole jumper situation is a load of BS. I don't mind. He can play around in a purple pink jumper with polka dots on it for all I care. But the fact that he gets all of the money from it when the rules are he's only supposed to get, the club's supposed to get 35% or something, and he's supposed to get the rest. The rules are the rules. You don't break the rules for anything. So if he can break the rules, why can't the other clubs break the rules? What happens if someone plays 100 games? Can they do it? 200 games, do it? And when does it come to the point where who's to say at the beginning of the season, they didn't say to Pendlebury, hey, mate, we're going to pay you a little bit less. Just come and play another year or so. We're not going to pay you what you're worth. Just pay. We'll do this shirts deal at the middle of the year where you might get an extra 50 or 100 grand or something. And there you go. There's your extra 50 or 100 grand of free money. So what's to stop other players doing it? The rules are there for a reason. The rules apply to everyone. As usual, Collingwood thinks they can break the rules because they're Collingwood, and they seem to get away with leaving home about once a year and bitching and moaning about it whenever they do. So now they get to basically hijack the salary cap. That's the way I look at it. I don't know about you guys, but that's the way that I look at it. Rules are rules. He has to pay the club. And yeah, put him in the pink polka dot Guernsey instead of the gold one. Why not? And that's no reflection on him. I think that's not a him thing. I think that's a club thing. And, clubs have been penalised for dodging the salary cap before, or giving, if you promise to give the player a car worth $50,000, if they had said to Pendlebury, hey, play another season, we'll pay you less, but we'll give you a $50,000 car, they're going to get paid. They're going to get punished for that, right? So what's the difference? To me, there's absolutely no difference. Oh, sorry, I missed out on chat. We've gone way back in chat. Getting 2 primos, not 3, Corey says. 3 would be better, but you can live with 2. Can't wait for Murdoch to be a forward. Yep, I'm the same. Kristen, now just not sure who to flip. McAndrew has may not play, I heard, or Bruin, who has been named. Thanks again. Sorry to be a pain. You're not a pain. Please ask questions. Like I said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, and I like to try and help. And I'll do my best, offer the best advice I can, which always comes with a disclaimer. I'm not an absolute expert. I've had very good finishes. Well, good finishes before. I usually finish in the top 10% every year. And I've had, really top 1,000 finishes before. Not many of them, but I've had them. So I know how to play. I don't mind doing the research. And I watch all the other YouTubers and stuff as well. So I take their opinions and I add them with my opinions, and then I look at the stats and I mash all that up and together like a big pot of mashed potato, and then I spew it back out onto you guys. Disgusting as that sounds. Considering Sherry in round 12 is fine for you. Yeah, Corey, I'm the same after round 12. If somehow I have enough money, I will jump on Sherry then. Ashton says, thanks, Seano. You're welcome, mate. Would you recommend trading in Jackson this week? I would always recommend trading in Jackson. The man has been an absolute legend, and I got him in a couple of weeks ago, and I've been extremely happy, and I think he is a captain choice every week, and he is in my captain options of vice captain Bonts into captain Jackson against Essendon, who I don't think they've got anyone at Essendon that can go with him. I think he will get, and even when Sean Darcy comes back, I still think he's a 120 guy. Even if they don't seem to agree with me down there at Freo, but I think the team looks better with Cox in the team. Cox can kick a goal. Sean Darcy doesn't kick any goals. Cox can also ruck. I like Jackson. I got no problems with anyone getting in Jackson. I've been a very happy owner since I got him in. Check out your team Lloyd style. Is it in Discord? I guess we can look it up the long way. Somebody else earlier on, I think, asked me to do this. If you're still here and you just chuck your name in, you chucked your name in chat of your team, and I didn't look it up, please put it there again. And we can do it this way, the hard way. But I know everybody doesn't have Discord though. Should get Discord though. Discord is fun. Join my Discord. Lots of fun people in there chatting about Supercoach, offering advice. I usually will pipe in if you ask for advice in YouTube. I will jump on and have a look. 713, isn't that the exact same ranking as this dude? 771. Ooh, you guys are fighting it out. Add rivalry. Roberts, Wanganeen, Malera. So unfortunately, when you do it this way, Lloyd, I can't see what your trades are. So what you've done in the way of trades, which is another reason that it's good to do it on Discord. But Roberts, I assume you're doing something about the Wang, Sinclair, Clark, Houston, Lindsay. Nice. Butters, Bont, Holmes, Merritt, Dacos, LDU, Bruno, Murdoch looks very nice too. Grundy, McAndrew with the ZZ. You're the one, yeah, if McAndrew gets dropped. And then down here, I can't see who your flex is. So you can't see who the flex is. Not even if I do the control thing, I think, yep. So looks fine. Sheasel, hopefully Horn Francis does better for both of us this week, mate. I'm a bit over Horn Francis. Had him last year, traded him in, got injured, traded him out, then traded him back in. When something like that, he was in, he was out, he was in. And this year I trade him in, he gets me 70, 70, and 70. I'm not a happy Horn Francis owner. He's not very horny. He's not making me very horny, let's put it that way. It's a very soft own, if you like the innuendo in that. McInerney, hopefully he starts to get back. He has the role, so hopefully he starts performing in that role, the CBA role. Flanders, like I said, think Flanders is going to have a few good weeks. Cook, and hopefully Philippou gets a bit more. Well, now that the Wang is out, before he was getting very low time on ground. So the time on ground is up, which is good. Let's just hope he can do better than 58 this week. Get back to those 80s he had the week before. So I like your team. Congratulations on the rank, buddy. 513. And yeah, let me know what your plans are for this week. Would Dersma to Bolton be worth a look? I'm a Bolton hater, but I have to admit he's making me eat my words this year. Bolton's the kind of guy that he'll get you 130 one week and 70 the next week, but he's on having a very good run at the moment. The same as the rest of the forwards, the same as probably a Rank or a Zach Bailey, or even the Justin McInerney that we just saw. I think they're all the same. They can all get you a 60 or they all can get you a 120, 130. The fact that Bolton is a goal scorer makes me like him a lot more than some of them. But yeah, just if you do get him, don't expect he's going to get those huge scores every week, and don't be surprised if he just drops you a 60 sooner or later. I'm not a big fan of any Freo players except for Jackson, pretty much. Just because there's, like we talked about before, I think Freo are the best they've ever been and the most likely to make, the top of the finals and potentially win a premiership that they've ever had a chance of. They've got the Hawthorn type or the old Richmond, when Richmond were a good type of team, where they've got an entire team of good players and they share it between all of them. They share the load. So even if one of the good players isn't having a good game, somebody else stands up. And so that's the only issue I have with Bolton, and the fact he burnt me last year and played an entire game and got like a score of less than 10, I think it was. So maybe that was just last year's Bolton. Certainly hope. I don't even know how that's possible, to play an entire game and not be a rookie and get a score of like a 10. Grundy or Sherry? I like Sherry. I think Sherry's run is better, to be honest. So look, if you got Sherry this week, even though you probably wait till after his bye. So this week, potentially a no McAndrew Adelaide, that means either Rob or like Toby Murray. He will destroy them, and he will destroy McAndrew anyway. So that's a big score. Witts used to be a good ruck, and now is not much anymore. And they're playing a bit of McAndrew in there as well. So I think he'll destroy whoever he plays there. Freo, he's got Jackson and whoever. So that could be, not the biggest score. Then he's got West Coast. That's like a 200. Then he's got Richmond. Even if Nank is back, that's a huge score. And I don't think Nank will be back. He's had a setback in his injury, so that's not a huge score. Essendon, huge score. Port Adelaide, I don't think Sweet can go in. Huge score. Cameron, huge score. Then he's got Melbourne. He's got a bit of a problem. He has to fight with Gawn a little bit. St Kilda, I still think he takes both the St Kilda boys. Maybe it's a little bit down because he has to go to Koning and Marshall, but, huge score. Hawks, I know they restrict rucks a little bit, but can they go with him? I don't know. Bulldogs, English will be back by then, for sure. And then Geelong, another huge score. His run is pretty sweet. I mean, that's a run that I want to get on. And that's why I really would like, I don't know, I'm going to need 300K from somewhere to get him. And I don't know where I'm going to get 300K, but I'm going to rob the Supercoach bank. If you load up your team next week or around 12 and you're missing 300K, you might want to come and look for me because I might have stolen it. And let's have a look at Grundy's run. So Grundy, he's got Collingwood this week with potentially, Cameron, big score. Geelong, big score. Richmond, big score. St Kilda, again, the two rucks, I think he's got it over him, but it might be a little bit less. Port Adelaide, I think it's fine. I think he can still score well here. Bulldogs against English probably by this time would be okay. Freo could be a little bit more challenging, but probably okay. Adelaide should be good score. Good score. Finishes on all good scores too. So I don't have a big issue with his run either. They both got pretty sweet runs. So I think you can't go wrong with either of them. Let's put it that way. I think you can't go wrong with either of them. Yeah. It's hard to pick between them. I just remember what Grundy did last year. On what it looks like this year, it looks like, Sherry, but on what Grundy did last year, and that run that I just saw there means it's pretty sweet as well. So I think they're both safe as houses. And I'm regretting that I'm going to have to not have one of them because I'll have to keep Max Gawn. So hopefully Heath, I won't say hopefully Heath gets injured. Hopefully he just gets dropped. And we don't have to worry about that. Corey says he was injured then when he was laid out, Nas. I probably missed what you're talking about there, Corey. Darren Phillips, you have Sardis and Sharp and Farrow. How would you deal with them? This is the week 20 grand in the bank, sit and wait. Well, Darren, I hope for you, and I don't hope for me, that with Sharp going down, they bring back Sardis, but with Jaya Cardwell coming in, they might not. So I got rid of Sardis this week, and Brad Scott usually really likes to piss me off. So I wouldn't be surprised if he brought back Sardis. That would really, really make me angry. If you didn't watch my rant about Brad Scott, how he destroyed not just one, not just two, it wasn't 3, but 4 rookies in one game. He destroyed 4 rookies in one game on my team, and he's still destroying rookies now by, not playing them. I noticed that, speaking of which, that our mate Edwards here went back to the VFL and straight away kicked another 2 goals when he was played up forward. Who would know? You play a forward in the forward role and he kicks 2 goals. What a surprise. He must be a genius. The old coach down there at the VFL Essendon team, that guy must be a genius, putting a forward in the forward role. Like, give that guy a medal. Seano bitter? Just a little bit. Yeah, he destroyed Sardis, he destroyed Sharp, he destroyed Farrow, and he destroyed the other one, Edwards, all in one round. all in the Anzac round. He destroyed it. So thank you very much, Brad Scott. You're still destroying him by not having Edwards in the team. Sharp, I can't blame you for Sharp's injury, but, whatever. So how would I deal with him? I would get rid of Farrow first, because Farrow could lose quite a bit of money like he did for me this week. And I would be trying to go up. I would be praying that Sardis comes back and holding him if you can, for maybe at least 1 or 2 more weeks, just to see if something happens, if there's an injury, or if he comes back, or if Brad Scott gets fired and a new coach comes in with half a brain and decides to play, one of the best clearance players they have in the VFL, actually in the AFL. I mean, he only gets 40 possessions every week. So, why would you play that guy? You only got 20 grand in the bank. Okay. Sharp, yeah, again, round 16, I don't know. I'm holding him unless like a 99K. If a 99K guy came along in the mid-season, drafts in the midfield, he's the man I'd probably drop down if I needed an extra like 80K there. If one of these Anderson or Burton guys wasn't peaking out, if they're of their, money. So I think Sharp and you got no one to go down to anyway. So I think you just have to keep those guys and dump Farrow. Now, if you have to get one of these slightly dodgy rookies for Farrow, maybe a Will Edwards or a Liam Henry, or if Dirksen comes in, get Dirksen and make the money and bank that money or try and make an upgrade somewhere else in your team. That would be my best opinion. You just keep the 2 Essendon boys for the moment and get rid of they're all Essendon boys. Get rid of Sharp, because Sharp, I believe, Farrow, get rid of Farrow. Don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Undo change. Because if Farrow was to have a real bad game, he's got a break even of 80. So let's just say a disaster happens and he gets a 35, which all the guys back there now, with Redmond back, and they're putting Merritt back there, and they got Archie Roberts back there, and got every man and their dogs back there. He could lose 18K this week, and that's, if he gets a 50, he doesn't lose. He still loses 12K if he gets a 50. What he needs, at 80, you want him to get like a 65. A 65 loses 6K. So he would have to score more than the 65, I was thinking, for me to be even considering him. I think going down to one of those other rookies, even if they're not that dependable, and even if haven't got enough money to do an upgrade this week, it's fine. Get some more money coming in and just try and pick whoever seems to be the best out of those dodgy rookies, out of the dodgy rookies this week. And pretty much it's going to be rookie roulette in another way. You're going to have to roll the dice and pray that whoever you pick stays in the team. Still can't believe Pendlebury hasn't played. He's played more games than anywhere else, and he hasn't played at that stadium. I believe it, Corey. I believe it. The most unfair fixtured game in the world, without, by far, AFL. Most, it just is. There's no dispute. You can't even dispute it. When it comes to travel, it's the most unfair and Victorian biased fixtured game, or particular city or state biased game in the world. Other people from other countries can't believe you. Like, I got my friend here from, I think he might be from the US or the UK, Trevor, but I got a feeling he might be an Australian, but he could be from the US or UK. If I told him that, we have this sport and yet one team gets to play, 75% of its games in its home state, in its home city, and most of those are its home stadium. But basically, even if it's not the MCG or whatever, it's still basically a home, If it's in Melbourne, it's a home game. I don't give a shit whether it's a Marvel or whatever. It's a home game. Doesn't matter if it's not the MCG. If you're Collingwood and you play Marvel, that's a home game. I'm telling you right now. So they they don't believe it. They're like, what do you mean they get to play 75% of games at home and the other teams get to play 50% at most? I'm like, yep, that's just the way it is. Christian had Zorko traded to Worrell when he got injured. Ooh, rough. Dawson Larrard down when he got injured. Dawson Larrard down back have impacted him, I reckon. Worrell, yeah, bit disappointed at his role at the moment. Yeah, I was keen on him at the beginning of the season, Kristen. I was like, get Worrell into my team, and at that point I just didn't. I can't remember why I didn't. Not that I'm having much better luck with Houston and Dacos, but yeah, I feel your pain. 12 match day Guernsey means it's every time he goes to the bench it feels 12 match day Guernsey means it's every time he goes to the bench it feels Pendlebury. Corey? Feel like McAndrew was managed at training due to 2 6-day breaks in a row. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays. They didn't say he was injured. They just said he left training early, I believe, if I remember correctly with my old man memory. So he could play. He's still going to get crushed by Sherry. Let's face it. If they're going to leave him out, they might as well leave him out this week because he's not going to compete with Sherry anyway. But he'll probably play because they'll probably be thinking they want to win the game though, right? And North have been pretty good lately, so they want someone who can be at least semi-competitive. If that's even a chance of happening, it's probably going to have to be McAndrew. Corey says, I got him for English, loving it, Jackson. I'm loving a bit of Jackson myself. Hey, Jen Will Belandras. That's probably completely wrong. So we'll get Ralph out. We haven't had Ralph out yet.
Me fail English?
That's impossible. Thank you, Ralph. Would you trade in Darcy Wilson? No. Short answer, no. But we'll do a bit of research for you. We'll do a bit of research. I've got him in my draft teams, which is fine. I just don't think he's one of these guys. He needs to score goals to get you a decent score. And even then, what is a decent score? Can he go big? 50, 50, 95, 81, 112. Did he get some CBAs or something last week with Nas being out? Got a couple, but not too many. He had some in these games here when Jack McRae's not playing. No, he's not a pick for me, to be honest. Not a pick. At that price, you probably, if you're going to take a roll of the dice on that price, go Durham, the 380 guy. At least he's got bulk CBAs. And, if I was going to take a roll at 390 or 380K, Jen, I would be going for the Durham guy. But I don't like either of them, to be honest. But just me, just Seano. Seano's been wrong. Man, a lot of players I said, I don't really feel like they're not, not too keen on them, and then they've just gone bananas. There's been a few of those. Archie Roberts at the beginning of the season. Yeah, I'm not sure about Archie Roberts. Boom, number 1 defender. So I can be wrong. Hey, Darren Phillips, how are you? Horn Francis sucks. Yes, he does. Oh, Horn Francis sucks people in. I'm not going even near him. He's too inconsistent. Well, I went in because he had the role. I did my due diligence. I did my study. I looked at the role. I looked at the CBAs. I'm like, he's a CBA midfielder. Surely he's going to score well, Where is he? Where is this useless bloody chocolate fireman? He's got more than 60% CBAs in these last rounds. Since I got him, he has to do good, right? He has to get a minimum of like a 90. Plus he can kick goals, and we've seen him get 130s and 140s before. Surely it's going to be okay. No, 370s for Seano and for anyone else that got him. Like, I did my research. And he just absolutely delivered poo. No, I saw Corey. You were talking about you thought you were going to lose. I saw you said something, didn't you? And then I looked at it and I'm like, no, you're not going to lose. I was like, no, no. But I was looking. Did anyone else notice that the flex play or your lowest score came off the field very late last week? It normally happens during the round, but like I was predicted to get 2,300, but it was including my flex score, where normally they don't automatically drops off. Like your lowest score is dropped off as soon as you get 18 players. But it just seemed so the whole round is probably what tricked me as well a little bit, Corey. I was like, maybe I'm going to score 2,300. And then, of course, it dropped off and I scored like 2250. Harvey Thomas has played at more venues than Scott Penderbury. I know it's kind of sad, right? It's in Discord, Michael. Yep, sure. I will get there. We'll do that now. Darren, thank you. Great man. Don't know about that, but you're the great man. You're the legend. I hope Scott falls next week. He's got a. I don't think he is gonna. I mean, any Essendon fans out there, I know you probably want it, but he's got a year on his contract, right? If he's going to fall, they might just keep him this year and let him fall next year. Richmond are going to snap up the best coach probably this year, so they might have left it too late. In Discord, where in Discord? It's not Michael. I already looked at your team, Michael, but we can have a quick look at it again. West Coast Eagle. No, which one's you, Michael? Oh, WEC rule. Okay, cool. This is why we didn't find it. Season rank 40,000. You're up there with me, mate. Round 9 rank 644. It's pretty sweet. That's a pretty nice looking score, mate. I'm hoping to get one of those scores before the end of the season. It can happen. You know, that's why I know my team is capable of putting up a score like this, but it's just very hard. It doesn't help when you don't have like the two best defenders like you do. Roberts, Whitfield, Sinclair, Dale, Houston, and Lindsay. That's very nice. Obviously, you got the Dale payoff. Blamiers and Selwood, also good. Butters, Bont, Walsh, Callahan, Sarong, who paid you back for holding. Smith, Murdoch, Roshenko, Anderson, Sharp, and Burton. You've still got lots of cash gen or some cash gen going on here. Gordon, McAndrew, and Ned Reeves. Obviously, there's a nice little 200K whenever you want to drop him to Kalani, White, or whoever. Ready to go. Petrarca, Pickett, Flanders, Rochelle, Daniels, Robertson, Cook, Jones, and Sheasel in the flex. Yeah, looks fine, mate. Looks really good. There's some, obviously, you got a few players to sort out. Your back line's pretty much sorted for the while. You don't have to do much there. You've got Lindsay at D8, which I think is fine. I'll probably be keeping Lindsay at my D8 until through to after his bye, before I suss out who I want. A couple of midfield spots to go. Couple of underperforming forwards, but who are doing you okay though. So, it's not a bad thing. If McAndrew doesn't play this week, you got Reeves. So you look pretty set up, mate, for a nice second half of the season. Like me, hopefully you can drag, your spots down a little bit. I assume you must have jumped a lot of spots this week, mate. 10 to 20K spots, I assume, Michael, that you jumped this week with that nice big score. And, hopefully you back it up with another big score this week, mate. And, you can get down near that 10 to 20K, I think it's still doable, 10 to 20K for both you and me. But you need to get a couple of these scores in a row. So you probably need a 2-3 plus this week to drop another 5 or 10K spots. Do that in a few weeks in a row and you'll be under 20K in no time. Mack and Reeves to Smith and Grundy. Grundy, yes. Smith, round 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't think I'll be getting Smith. You've already got 5 from round 16. Again, got to pay attention to that. Grundy for sure. I think even McAndrew, if McAndrew doesn't play, go McAndrew to Grundy. But maybe Reeves has less money. Actually, maybe Reeves is making less. As Reeves topped out. No, he could get more than that, right? He could get more than that. They're about the same. Oh, he's got a 31 there. I think I would get rid of McAndrew before Reeves. If Reeves could come back and get you some, say, 75s, average of 75 until he's buy, how much more money would that make? Not a great deal. Maybe 20k, maybe 20 or 30k. So okay, I think it's fine to get rid of either of them. Then I think it's fine to get rid of either of them. Wish I had got Artie Jones when the time had come. That would have been good. Would have been good. Yeah, Marcus, I think you're all good. You're all good there. Which one? Where was I reading? That wasn't you asking that, was it? I was reading someone else's chat. All right, crew. Well, if you haven't liked already, how many people got watching? We've got 14 people watching. If you haven't liked already, did we actually get a total of 14 likes in the end? Got 16. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. So I think we might call it a day, and Sean and I will go and have some lunch. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Like if you like the video, subscribe. Let's try and get 600 subscribers before the end of the season. And, maybe we'll do something special. And, yeah, thank you from me and Skippy. Skippy likes the 500 subs as well. If you don't want to sub for me, sub for Skippy. She gets a bit upset, if she doesn't see new subscribers every week and lots of likes on the video. She you don't want to make Skippy cry. It's not very nice, Anyway, and so like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. If you're watching this in the future, leave me a comment down below. How are you doing? How's your team going? Who are your trades this week? Who are your vice captains and captains? We didn't talk much about vice captains and captains, but go back and check my out my captains and trades video if you want to do that, where I went into that a little bit more. And also go back and check out my round review if you want to see my round review. I would like that would be great if you check them out and like those videos as well. And like we usually do, we're going to go through and thank everyone in chat who was here today, because I appreciate you guys and girls a lot. Darren Phillips, thank you. Michael West Coast Eagles, thank you. Corey, thank you. Jen Will, I'm just going to call you Jen Will. Thanks, mate. Corey Black Ledge, I'll use your whole name. Christian Gardner, thank you for being here. Ashton 17G, thanks for being here. It's Mano. Mano, thanks for being here. Supercoach Pro, like I said, don't forget, go and follow that man. Love his videos. And he's thinking about going Durham this week. So if you're thinking about going Durham, could be the way to go. Lancy, good to see you. Trevor, Pinky, nice to see you, mate. Hope Marvel Strike Force is going well for you. You Marvel nerd, you. Karen, nice to see you, Karen. Cheese, I don't really like cheese. How can you not like cheese? Cheese. Everybody loves cheese. I love cheese. I could literally live on just cheese. Jack Smith, good to see you, mate. Michael Rubenstein, good to see you always. Shano, good to see you, mate. Matthew Gerd, good to see you. If I stuffed anyone's name up, I'm sorry. Sam Siege, good to see you, mate. And Alex Nunn, Thank you, everybody. You've all been awesome as usual, and hopefully, I'll talk to you all again very soon.